Welcome back on the channel, my friends. So it seems the markets are up. I don't know if this is a bull trap or not, but this is the time where if you have been strategic, you can take some profits right now, put them in stables and wait for a future dip. But the main idea is to have a long-term perspective on the market. That's the whole point with this series of banking on Bitcoin. I haven't done a video on it on a while because mostly it's what I shared in past videos. You DCA into the pool if you want to have a more long-term strategy. You can have a shorter term strategy, but that would involve to have something like this 10, 20, 30% range. For example, if you had started back in the earlier days of February, this is a long time to accumulate Bitcoin, right? Even if you don't want to accumulate for the long term and you just want to use these liquidity pools as a way to multiply your fiat, take a look at this. We had like this period here from February up until April, and in it with a relatively tight range, we can talk about 10-10. That will increase our APR. And although the market will not be crazy with volume, right now it is. We have over 7 million. The pool is a little bit short of 1 million. So this is perfect for yield farming. And these are the moments we are building up for when trying to accumulate in the short term with these tighter ranges. But let's say we were at this level, right? 90K, we dropped to at around 70K, and then in April, it went up at around, I think, 20%. Yeah, something like that, 20%. So on average, if you dollar cost average into your pool, you could have experienced a 20% appreciation in your liquidity pool, in your deposit value, and you could just got off right there, or at least take some profits. And of course, we never know if it will go up or down, but here it went down. So we have two options then. Either to remove our whole position that was turned into fully Bitcoin, and we essentially bought the dip, and open a new one. You can borrow against that Bitcoin you just withdrew from your position using platforms like Aave, like Venus. That will allow you to get some capital at least borrowed against your Bitcoin and not starting up from scratch if you're not in the position to just dollar cost average with outside money and put money back into the pool or opening new positions constantly with outside money. That would be optimal in my opinion, but if you cannot do that, try to borrow something. Don't go crazy with it because you can get wiped out. Borrowing does necessarily involve leverage, so pay attention to that. But once we entered another accumulation phase, there's always going to be the potential of going up, as we are seeing right now, another 20% increase. So this is a lot of time for us to accumulate to dollar cost average into the pool, and now it's the time to take profits. If that is your idea, if you want to use these pools as a catalyst to increase your fiat, right? So there's also going to be, of course, the downside. And if you got in at around 100K, probably by now, dollar cost averaging will not allow you to get 20% up. It pretty much depends how much you bought, at what price did you buy in. But if you entered at 120, 100K, even 80K, it takes some time to lower your entry, and that's the ultimate goal of dollar cost averaging. But remember, after a while, these are the moments where we should take profits, because the whole goal is to compound dollar cost averaging by depositing more, for example, grow your bag. So once the tides turn, that's the time to take profits. So depending on how early you started and your average entry, you got to look at all those things. But if you have been doing it for enough time, there will be a point in the market where these events will show up. The tide suddenly turn and you can start taking profits at some levels like so. At the end of this video, I'll link up some of my past ones going in much more depth about this whole strategy, how everything works, how you can do that yourself. It's not rocket science, anyone can do it, and this is the power of DeFi, guys. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, maybe some suggestions for future videos. I haven't done videos in DeFi for a while because the markets have been pretty much stale. For the past few weeks, it's probably the lowest yielding time frame that I've experienced in the past year or so. And then when Bitcoin pumps, everything else pumps along with it. As you can see here, Solana, just the same thing. It went up 20%. So it's that point in time. If you had trust in the assets you were holding, if you have been accumulating, this is the time to take profits. We don't know where the top will be. We don't know if this is a bull trap, but if you play it in the long run, and if you zoom out enough from the charts, you can see these points. You see, there's noticeably a resistance here with Solana at this price point. It shows up here, it shows up here. So the strategy should go along with that, and you should look for these resistance points in the assets that you're holding to take profits. It doesn't mean you need to sell the whole bag, but at least take some profits, okay? Because we don't really know necessarily if this resistance will break or not. Only time will tell, but you don't need to necessarily sell the whole bag. A small percentage would be just fine, but take some profits regularly, okay? I'll link up on screen some of my past videos on the banking on Bitcoin series, but you can apply that principle to everything. My advice is, if you're new to this and to crypto, stick with blue chips, Solana, Bitcoin, BNB, stick with those, Ethereum as well. Apply those principles to any of those, and in the long term, it should play out just fine. So we're definitely not out of the woods, but compared with a few days ago, markets did take a turn. Again, look at this volume, 380 million and TVL 24 million. This is where you will see your positions printing. These are the moments that make up for when the markets are just staled out and there's not much volume, not much yield going on. In my opinion, crypto and DeFi, it's going to be a long-term game. Alright, so I hope you took value from the video. Thank you for watching, take care. Links on screen for past videos explaining this whole thing. I'm going to wrap this one up. Take care, keep exploring crypto, and I'll see you in the next one.